a journalist, Dari Udufo, as well as a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Jide Olugun. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast this morning.
Good morning.
All right, we'll start with the Vanguard, and the major headline here says, "Insecurity, we're helpless." Inspector General of Police cries out to Senate, says shortage of funds, inadequate equipment, few personnel hurting police efforts. Senate drills him for 2.5 hours, promises support. NAF kills 20 bandits in Zamfara, destroyed Kingpin's camp. Federal government inaugurates committee on internal security community policing. All right, we'll move now to this day and seek a multi-dimensional approach to end insecurity. UNGA advises Nigeria, "I won't let the nation down," says Buhari. Appeals for UN support. Police to recruit 10,000 personnel. On the front page of the blueprint, 2019, why we can't expose sensitive election materials. INEC reps seek a 5-year jail term, 5 million naira for PVC breach. NSITF board controversy. Ngige, NLC in messy fight, will block minister anywhere we see him, says Waba. "I can't be intimidated," Labour minister. To the front page of the Punch now. NFF President Pinnick for others charged with $8,400, 4 billion naira fraud. Adeleke arraigned for forgery, gets 2 million bail, permission for U.S. Trip. And finally, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, police shake-up coming to stem rising crime wave. IG to senators, DIGs, AIGs, CPs to be moved. 10,000 recruits on the way. Well, gentlemen, one story that I'm certain will interest you has to do with the level of insecurity and the IGP meeting with the Senate yesterday. And he has said that we are helpless. A statement of such magnitude, Dari, coming from the Inspector General of Police. What does that mean for the average Nigerian?
No, there are no doubt it's a worrisome statement, a frightening one at that. Severally, we have hinged our hope on the security apparatus we have in this country. And each time there is this attacks, we call on the police as the first port of call.
And now they're saying they're helpless.
The IG, I think it was here we spoke about this invitation, and I insisted there is no shortcut to this, the National Assembly meeting with those concerned with our security. And now we are seeing that in actual fact, what is actually going on is more than what we are seeing on the surface. If the Inspector General of Police is saying the police is helpless in the face of such a damning situation, if the police is helpless, are we now going to call on hunters, or will resort to vigilantes to help us stem the tide of violence? The statement, even if it is the truth, you see, I argued this somewhere yesterday, even if the statement is the truth, I think it shouldn't have been given to Nigerians who are wallowing in self-pity as it is already. The way and manner the IG blotted it out. If the police is helpless, then the citizenry is in trouble.
But he has said that there's going to be some shake-ups, you know, in the police, architecture. Is that going to change anything?
We hope so, and I'm glad that they are concerned also. But I've been asking some questions. Who are the sponsors of these criminals? Because we are talking about crime here. What are the sources of crime? We talk of unemployment. We talk of ignorance. We've been fighting education in this country. We've been producing those who don't have jobs to do. And some respected Nigerians have spoken. I will never detach my mind from the revelation of General Theophilus Danjuma, retired, who himself was a defense authority in Nigeria. And I want to be proactive about this. The IGP has expressed his fear. He's asking for funding and some shake-ups. Let them go ahead and shake up. But proactively, I'm appealing to communities. Let's rise up. the kings, the preachers, the stakeholders, the opinion leaders. Let's begin to see how we can secure our environment. Because right now, in the northern part of the country, about 7 states have banned the use of motorcycles. In the southwest, when these boys come, where do they get money to buy the tricycles? And they attack everywhere.
Southwest leaders raised an alarm just yesterday.
It's beyond an alarm. Let's drop political interest now and secure our environment. I will speak about the jurisdiction where I belong. I belong to Lagos State. I know that under some commissioners of police, we had, a commendable level of security. We must know what is going on in this country because this crime is spreading so widely. And I must pay my respect to the president of this country, who also gave us a revelation to a problem we have. He has admitted that foreign terrorists are invading this country. That our borders are porous. The Islamic states of West Africa, ISIS is interested. Must Nigeria become a crime zone? And let's face the reality. Crime is a bedrock of poverty.
But the buck stops on his table, and people have called for him to, rejig the security architecture.
In fact, one of the reasons I did vote for President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 was this security concern. As a retired, general in the military, a former military head of state with his antecedents. But I am afraid about what is going on now. And I must warn Nigerians, we should expect what we call denial in responding to crisis. But that should not divert our attention from rising to the occasion. So I am appealing to kings, those who are still alive now, and they think security is important to national development, to rise up and let's engage this beyond the statement of the Federal Police.
All right, Dare, now the UN General Assembly President was in Nigeria yesterday, and in advising Nigeria or the president, she said we should seek multidimensional approach to end insecurity, and the president is appealing for support.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that it's not something we can handle alone. If we now have angle of international terrorists invading our country, then we need international help. But beyond that, back home, we need to check certain developments. We've seen that beyond politics, beyond international terrorism, in Zamfara, some form of commercial and financial interest is behind the violence in that particular part of the country. Then down south here, we are not exempted from what is happening.
Of course.
And what are the reasons for this? Joblessness. A whole lot of our youths are roaming the streets jobless. Anytime you find traffic gridlocks now, it's either you are well prepared to be attacked or you keep praying that the thing will move. Because right there in that gridlock, you find people roaming, harmed most times. And what do they seek? To just, express their own anger on innocent citizens. And then it is the same police, it is the same security forces we look up to help save the situation. There is no doubt that now, there will never be a better than now for Mr. President to take a good look at our security apparatus and rejig it. That has become very essential. Aside seeking for help and other things, we need to put an eye on the people manning our security. We need to ask questions. Why has it become so difficult to provide succor for Nigerians who desperately seek protection from the government we have enthroned? President Muhammad Buhari is going into another term. One major issue we'll have to, tackle is the issue of security. Before now, all what we were looking at was the insurgents in the northeast. But gradually,
down.
If we're talking about international terrorists, how about Boko Haram dissidents? So we hear every day that even within the ranks of Boko Haram, there are factions.
Yeah.
Some of them are leaving the fightings over there to seek
support,
commercial fortunes, still through criminal means. They are in Lagos attacking people as armed robbers at night and whatever during the day. They are in Zamfara as bandits. They are in Kano as whatever. And yet, we are not seeing the need to do more than we are currently doing. It's baffling. And there is no alternative to the fact that it's either this government resolves our security issues or Nigerians will lose hope.
Are you sure Nigerians haven't lost hope?
No, I think with this statement, like I said before, this is not a good thing to say. Nigerians still expressed some form of very good hope in President Buhari with the way he was re-elected.
All right.
But statements like this and complaints like this, I want to go, yes, the police may be underfunded and all that.
Perhaps
but I think they should tell us what they need to do to solve this problem.
Well, they want to employ 10,000.
They should go ahead and do that in good time.
Recruit 10,000 personnel.
When you talk about human capital, who will these employees be loyal to? I can see a fundamental issue in this country. There is probably a designed conspiracy to overrun this country with crime. And those who have the capacity to challenge it must rise up now. It's not about the employees. In fact, one of the concerns the IGP rolled out is the fact that some of the officers are compromised already.
Yeah.
Do we have the loyalty towards the country? We've been talking about different issues that are plaguing the people, and this does not take us away from the obligation of the government to protect the people, provide for the people, and create an enabling environment. When Nigerians are running out of their countries, we are talking about seeking foreign direct investments. I think this is an issue that should bother everybody, and I want to declare this morning, we should go beyond religious, political, or whatever sentiments and look at what is on ground.
All right.
Crime is evil, and we must all rise up to engage it. And those who have the privilege now,
we have to drop it at this point now. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for speaking your minds or sharing your thoughts on the topic this morning.
But I have with me Jide Ologun. He's a lawyer and an analyst here, as well as a journalist, Dari Odufo-Wokon. Gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you. All right, let's begin with the Daily Trust this morning. Daily Trust is our first paper this morning. Kano lawmakers set to approve 4 new emirates. Ganduje may get bail for assent today. Okay, that issue has been on for a little while now. From there, let's go to the Vanguard. Vanguard is saying on insecurity, we're helpless. IGP cries out to Senate. Okay, helplessness of the police. Then what will the people do? All right, let's move to this day. Seek multidimensional approach to end insecurity. UNGA advises Nigeria. That's the United Nations General Assembly. I won't let the nation down, says Buhari. Appeals for UN support. Police to recruit 10,000 personnel. Okay, that's this day. That's what they're reporting. Let's go to the Blueprint now. Blueprint is our next paper now. 2019. Why we can't expose sensitive election materials. INEC is saying that. And reps seek 5-year jail term, 5 million naira for a PVC breach. Okay, let's see how that plays out. From the Blueprint, let's go to Daily Sun. Daily Sun is our next paper now. And it says, NSITF board controversy, Ngige NLC in messy fight, will block minister anywhere we see him, says Waba. I can't be intimidated. Labour minister is saying that. All right, the face-off between the minister and organized labor. Let's move from the Daily Sun. Let's go to the Punch now. The Punch newspaper is our next paper this morning and says NFF President Pinnick, 4 others charged with $8,400 and 4 billion naira fraud. All right, that's the story the Punch is taking this morning. Let's move to the Nation now. The Nation newspaper is our next paper now, and it says police shake-up coming to stem rising crime wave. IG to senators, DIGs, AIGs, CPs to be moved, and 10,000 recruits on the way. Okay, that's what the Nation is reporting this morning. Let's move now to the Daily Times, and that's our last paper for this morning. And as part of what we'll be talking about, 1 million children displaced by Boko Haram in Northeast. That's the President Buhari is revealing that, and calls for UN support on infrastructure. Lake Chad and hurting effects of Lake Chad problem deserves global attention, as the UN saying that. Gentlemen, 1 million children displaced by Boko Haram in the Northeast. The President is telling us that this morning. But how disturbing is this issue where since 2009 it has been a consistent violence in the Northeast, and the government doesn't seem to come with necessarily with a new strategy per se, but it's just to there are different operations that, you know, achieve successes here and there, and then it's back to square one. Dari, let me start with you on this.
Let's start with the declaration by Mr. President. It's not far from the truth. The situation in the Northeast is a terrible one. And the rate at which we are building a refugee base that would no doubt turn around to hurt the nation, if not halted, is alarming. 1 million children in the Northeast. Don't forget that this is the main theater of the Boko Haram insurgency, the Northeast. And also, before the coming of the insurgency, the Almajiri culture was there, shunning out little kids, leaving home in search of...
Being ready-made materials for
criminals and crime gangs. Now we now have the insurgency that killed their parents. I mean, made a lot of them orphans overnight. And then they roamed the streets of the capitals of the states in this region without anybody taking responsibility for them. And this been, if we look at it from just the angle of the violence, the insurgents, since about 2009, this is 2019. Any kid that was 6, 5 then is now 15, 16, a young adult that had lived 10 years without parental control. Children that grew up without anybody putting the lead on their actions. And what do they know? They feel and they think living on the streets
is the norm.
Is a norm.
All right, Jide, anyone who goes into the university or who goes for a foreign training in 10 years would have finished and returned. And Nigerians were looking forward to when the military and even the government said that, well, fighting terrorism is not conventional war. Nigerian army is known to fight and defeat and win conventional wars. But the intelligence and the tact in fighting terrorism, by now Nigerians expect that government would have sent people to anywhere in the world, study and come back as to how to handle the insurgency in Nigeria.
You know, given the capacity of the Nigerian security apparatus, I doubt even if we need the international training. We did so well in West Africa and where we've gone to help people out of their trouble. I think there's a fundamental insincerity here. And I believe that some Nigerians are making huge amount of money from the insecurity in this country.
But wouldn't the government be aware of that if Nigerians are benefiting?
The government should answer that, but the result we have now, you know, speaks about their performance in office. Let me give an example. Recently, about $10 billion Naira was approved for intervention in one of the states that have been plagued by bandits. How much of that money will get to the internally displaced? And we are talking of internally displaced. Even when they were in place, were they educated? When this Boko Haram started in 2002, I was shouting that, hey, you need to sit back and ask yourself, what does education represent? And if a group is fighting it, where are we likely to end? Ignorance destroys. And here we are now. Even in the hometown of the president himself, a prominent traditional leader was kidnapped. Now we have widespread crime across. I think we need to approach it from ideological angle. Who are these children? The president himself is saying 1 million children who don't even know their parents. So how are they going to live? We see some of them. Of course, they are ready products for crime.
All right. Now, in all of these solutions, Dari, the point there is, when the president or the government is coming up with this statement, one would say, well, these are not new data, they're not new information. But what is that new thing that government needs to do and they're not doing?
A lot of new things. A lot of things are not being done yet. But one good thing, for about a week now, we've been seeing everybody talking about insecurity. Before now, it seems It was as if we just...
But it's one thing to talk about security.
But now we are talking.
It's another thing for it to be...
But now we are talking. Before now, everybody was just carrying on as if when it is time, God will solve the problem. We know God is a problem solver, but he expects us to play our own parts.
Certainly,
now,
he won't come down from heaven.
Now we are talking about it. That is one thing we needed to have done.
But what difference would it be talking about it? Because the point is, at the point of talking about it is when things have escalated.
Let me give you part of the difference. The IG went to talk about it at the Senate.
Exactly.
And he told them, we are short-staffed. Now, he came out after that and said, we are going to employ 10,000. We expect them to employ the 10,000, beyond talking about it. He has also examined that the inadequate equipment. So, Mr. President, or those who should know, or those who are in charge, should ensure that the equipment become adequate. Then he spoke about the training and retraining. You see, the thing with the Nigerian security apparatus is that, like he said, we were in ECOMOG, we were in Sudan, and they lived up to expectation. The moment they are ready to confront this, and the authorities too willingly support them to confront this, and those benefiting from this situation are ready to let go, this insecurity will go away until we sincerely pronounce our readiness to end the insecurity. We will continue to pay lip service.
All right. So Jide, it means that the Nigerian government is actually not ready to tackle. Is that what it is?
That is my personal opinion. Okay. And let me create a scenario here. When we talk about equipment, we have read reports over reports how ammunition got seized from importers. Where are these weapons? Why don't you give them? I know that when Land Cruisers and heavy vehicles are seized from importers, during Christmas or holiday, they distribute it to the big men. We know that, and they pay peanuts. Where are these ammunitions? Who are the ones importing the military camouflage and things like that? I think there are some Nigerians with their foreign collaborators, and the president himself admitted it, that are trying to overrun Nigeria with crime. But going back to the Constitution, it is the responsibility of the government to secure the people, provide for the people, and create an enabling environment. And if you go into the business environment, you talk about returns on investment. So with what we have invested, about $2 billion went into this insurgency in 2016 alone. You see, and we begin to, so if they are helpless, it's a sign of governance failure. And we cannot deny it. But I am saying that traditional rulers, preachers, the imams, those who, the opinion leaders, stakeholders in society should rise up to this occasion and begin to defend their territories, like General Theophilus Danjuma.
Yeah, but the point there is that we would not use the platform to incite anyone.
It's not inciting. Legitimately so. Vigilant. You have to be vigilant
to that. All right, gentlemen.
It means vigilance. Yeah. And like coming together to say, oh, we'll defend our territory against
any. All right.
I mean, that's
let's wait
necessary
to see how things play out. And Nigeria is still waiting for the 12 almighty super tucanos from the United States. Let's see how. Yeah, of course, we're waiting for that.
We are waiting for this equipment.
Dario Odufo, thank you so much for coming.
Investing so much.
Jide Ologun, thank you very much for coming.
Newspaper review, and I have with me a journalist, Dario Odufo, as well as a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Well, let's head straight to the papers, and I start with the Daily Trust. Kanu lawmakers are set to approve 4 new emirates. Ganduje may get bill for assent today. I will move to the front page of the Vanguard. Insecurity, we are helpless. Inspector General of Police cries out to Senate, says shortage of funds, inadequate equipment, few personnel hurting police efforts. Senate drills him for 2.5 hours, promises support. NAV kills 20 bandits in Zamfara, destroy Kingpin's camp. Federal government inaugurates Committee on Internal Security, Community Policing. Well, we move on now to this day. Seek multidimensional approach to end insecurity. UNGA advises Nigeria. I won't let the nation down, says Buhari. Appeals for UN for support. Police to recruit 10,000 personnel. And on the front page of the Blueprint 2019, why we can't expose sensitive election materials, INEC. Reps seek 5-year jail term. 5 million naira for PVC breach. On to the Daily Sun now. NSITF board controversy. Ngige NLC messy fight. Will block minister anywhere we see him, says Waba. I can't be intimidated, Labour minister. We'll be talking about that very soon. And to the Punch newspaper now. NFF President Pinnick, 4 others charged with $8,400, 4 billion naira fraud. To the nation now, police shake-up coming to stem a rising crime wave. IG to senators, DIGs, AIGs, CPs to be moved. 10,000 recruits on the way. And finally, 1 million children displaced by Boko Haram in northeast Buhari calls for UN support on infrastructure, Lake Chad. Hurting effects of Lake Chad problem deserves global attention, UN. All right, gentlemen, let's look at the story on the front page of the Daily Sun. The NLC and the Labour Minister, obviously, it seems there's going to be a showdown between both of them over the issue of the Nigeria Insurance Trust Fund Board controversy. I'll start with you, Adari.
This controversy has dragged, in my opinion, for too long even. It still boils down to the issue of ensuring that you have round pegs and round holes. You see, Dr. Chris Ngige is a fine gentleman, a reputable politician to a large extent. But making him a Labour minister, I don't know, everybody knows Ngige's temperament. Even as governor, he did not take it easy with those who felt they could ride roughshod over him. And then he had spat with even the national chairman of his own political party. So here is a man who always want to, stand on his own point at every point in time. In the Labour ministry, you need somebody with negotiation skills, somebody who can manage situations.
And Waba is not doing that?
No, I'm talking about Ngige now.
Oh, Ngige, okay.
As Labour minister, I'm not too comfortable. He's not, I think someone else will do a better job even over this issue. What is the issue? Ngige is actually, in my opinion, right in his argument. It's just that I will expect that it will be less controversial, less confrontational in his approach, because the Labour NLC, through its president and other officials, are trying to insist that you have to make this particular person the chairman of a board. That's the prerogative of the government. So they are not in government. They should allow the government to run.
So why are they insistent?
If the minister is wrong, he is answerable to a president who will have said, no, do that.
So
the
they should
president
have tabled their arguments to the president.
But
they know the bottlenecks they would encounter.
Whatever it is, you can't force a minister to do what you want. You are a labor union. This is the business of government is not the business of labor. It's not about salary increase or negotiation, workers' welfare. It's about appointment, something that is the reserve of the government. And Ngige, in this case, represents the federal government. He's the minister. So if they have any complaint, they should go to the appropriate quarters, engaging him and even threatening to picket him soon, to corner him if they see him anywhere.
Perhaps this is why some persons have said that labor, that is organized labor now, is sometimes biased.
You know, the way claim bias, they are there to represent the interest of their organization. But my concern is that quite a number of times they drift away from the main focus. We are talking of something that has its foundation as far back as the 60s, talking about Provident Fund to alleviate poverty of the workforce, which has metamorphosed to where we are now. And in managing this fund, you need those who can be trusted. And like Mr. Dare said, it is the prerogative of the minister, you know, to really put his weight around that. But if the labor organization is saying, no, you must do this, I don't think it should become a pedestrian issue. I mean, there are places where they can meet and lobby. I think we don't just have respect for timing in this country, because at the end of the day, we shout over it, and the interest we are expected to protect does not get protected, because right now, UNGA is also bringing in some issues. They have to look critically into the personality of the person coming. Kokori was the national secretary of the labor organization, but the government also should be able to say, okay, whose interests will be represented? And I'm not justifying the fact that we believe they are protecting national interests. But whatever interest it is, we have issues with the human capital in this country right now, particularly when we are even still battling with implementing the minimum wage, which is still there, which impacts on the workforce, because the president is asking that they should be committed. How can they be committed when they are being ravaged with poverty? So the issues that must be attended to by these offices are hardly, attended to. And like he said, Dr. UNGA himself is not really a soft person. Recall that recently he threw a bombshell in the medical angle.
But seeing that both sides are not shifting grounds, we should expect a showdown, is that what it means?
No, they will have to shift ground. I read in the papers where the Labour president, NLC Waba, said anywhere they see UNGA, they will block him.
Yes.
Are they telling us they will box him or they will drag his shirt?
Again, is he going to go that being made?
Yeah. What are they telling us to expect? And then the UNGA himself, being who he is, as Hans Fan, he said,
he won't be intimidated.
Meaning that if they block him, he will box them. And then we are going to have our minister and the Labour president exchanging fisticuffs. No, it shouldn't get to that. I insist. And in fact, I think Chief Kokori himself should wade into this. His name is a national icon when it comes to labor matters in this country. He's one of those who fought for the enthronement of democracy, putting his life on the line. So if you are now dragging the name of such a man in this kind of messy details, I don't think it is good. The minister should take it easy. The NLC president should calm down. If there are issues surrounding the minister is talking about the certain requirements of who will be the chairman.
Yes.
Now look, at this point in time, it's a fund. We need to be, just put the person who can help send the funds down to where it should go. The Labour president is looking at a man who has always had the interest of workers at that. So you will realize that sitting down to talk about this, they may just come to an agreement, okay, this is what we'll do. Maybe with him, we're going to have someone else to take care of areas we think he cannot, or let him be this and so on, and they will find a way around it. Rather than, washing their dirtiness on the pages of newspapers.
But
I don't think it's
with Kokori coming to speak, if he eventually speak, really resolve this issue?
May I suggest to the government to engage the professional bodies in the country. And this
morning, know how engagement goes.
Yeah, I'm recommending. The Chinese say the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. So you can start doing the right things. I'm suggesting that the government and the stakeholders should approach the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, exclusively empowered to manage HR issues. These are issues of collective bargaining. It's so simple, yet complex for those who don't want to go the professional route, because at the end of the day, the issues that must pay attention to are waiting. Just like how the people went to block the vice president earlier in the week, there are issues. So we don't need to become pedestrian. The global environment is watching us, like the president told the senators. So we need to operate in a way that we show class. So it's a matter that can be resolved. All right, Jide Ologun, Dario Dufo, gentlemen, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast this morning. Thank you.